So it's time to take a look at the new premium platoon, not the IS-6 platoon, that will be next week, but the BMP-1 platoon. Now the BMP-1 is quite the hot vehicle at the moment. Very interesting. There will be more variants of the vehicle, I'm pretty sure of that, and this platoon might be changed down the road. We will see what will happen with that. Now it has a 73mm main gun, it's very fast, 5 km/h is top speed, reverse is 11 km/h penetration, is 300mm, surprisingly a lot of penetration for the main gun, and it does have a ATGM on top of it. Now there is no armor, reload 6 seconds, the turret rotation speed isn't that fast, but it's usable, and this vehicle is huge. Does look like a boat. It can swim. I actually did go in the water with this thing just to see if it can swim, and yeah, it can swim. But let's see how this thing will perform in combat. Now, the BMP-1 definitely a surprise. Did not expect this to be added, but from my experience, it's an okay vehicle. My favorite vehicles in the game have ATGMs, and the fact that you have a missile attached on top of this thing is a huge bonus. Now, unfortunately, you don't have the aim from the missile's point of view. You aim from the gunner's sight, which is from the main gun. So I was very excited at first that I was able to use this vehicle like the IT-1, and I really hope that there is a variant of the BMP-1 without a gun, only with the ATGM. That would be a very good little vehicle. Now this vehicle does have, I was very surprised by the penetration of this 73mm main gun. It penetrates a lot, and also that's a very huge bonus that it's able to penetrate so much armor. Means that the main gun is usable and you don't have to rely on the missile that much. Now the ATGM does penetrate a lot as well, it's very good. It has 4 ATGMs and then a 60-second reload. When it comes to survivability, the vehicle does seem to be able to take hits, although has absolutely no armor. This is an infantry fighting vehicle, so you can't really expect this thing to have a lot of armor. But it does have some good survivability, and I don't mind the performance of this vehicle so far. It's been pretty fun. Not exactly what I expected. I honestly thought that I'll have the gunner's sight replaced with the ATGM sight, but you know, it's fine. The reload being 6 seconds is solid. Now, when it comes to ammo, you have heat or anti-tank grenades, and you have high explosive. Not a bad choice of ammo, you will get the job done. It is very similar to the Type 60 SPRG-C, very similar to that vehicle, very similar anti-tank grenade performance. Since this isn't using normal shells, it's using anti-tank grenades, which obviously seem to be doing a lot of damage when they impact the enemy tank. And surprisingly, when I say a lot of damage, you still have to be careful that you aim at weak spots, because it's still a heat shell, and we all know how reliable heat shells are, but it also has a missile, and the fact that it does have a missile is, I would say, the best thing, the best part about this vehicle is the missile launcher. Unfortunately, you can't have the missile launcher point of view. Maybe down the road they might add a different camera angle that you can switch. That would be pretty awesome if you were able to switch camera angles on the vehicle, because I would only use the ATGM on this thing. The main gun is good, but the ATGM is where the fun is at, especially since the missile is attached on top of the vehicle, like on the IT-1, which technically means you can take advantage of terrain if you did have the missile point of view on the vehicle. Now let me quickly demonstrate the swimming ability. It does perform better in the water than the PT-76 or Object for that matter. It does swim better than those two vehicles. I expected similar swim performance, but this vehicle is a bit different when it comes to that, and that's another kill there. Pretty good swim performance. Doesn't sink, and it doesn't perform awkwardly while in the water. Now, is this thing fun? Honestly, I would say yes. If you like to play light armor vehicles like SPAAs, this does play like an SPAA. It does play like the Marder A1. It plays like those vehicles that have autocannons and ATGM launchers. That's about the same tier as those as well. The only big difference with this vehicle is the fact that this has a very usable, very strong main gun. And don't be surprised. Now the high explosive shells, I don't really use high explosive much. I don't know how they will perform. I mean, it's a 73mm high explosive shell. I don't really think they will do much damage to the more heavily armored vehicles. But against light armor vehicles should be enough. But when it comes to the main ammo, it definitely should remain heat, since it does have, I would say, it's not the same caliber as the Type 60. The Type 60 has 133mm penetration, and it has anti-tank rifles, recoilless rifles, which have a lot more penetration than this thing. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Same type of ammo, just different caliber, and of course the Type 60 will have a lot more penetration because it has 106mm anti-tank rifles. And speaking of the devil, that's the Type 60 that I just destroyed. Shell velocity, I mean, it's a short-barreled 73mm gun. The shell probably isn't that fast, but high explosive anti-tank shells don't really rely on speed, on shell velocity to defeat armor. They rely on the chemical component that's inside of the shell. Basically, they rely on the explosion, and that pushes molten metal through the armor into the crew, and that's basically rest in pieces. But so far, pretty happy with the performance of the BMP-1. Say, so far I do enjoy driving this vehicle. Just a little bit, a little bummer is that you don't have the ATGM point of view. It would be so fun to use this thing with only ATGMs. I mean, you can do that. Definitely, you can use only the ATGMs on this vehicle, but the main gun is also really good. And it was an interesting first match for sure. Let's go to the next one. So, I already mentioned that this vehicle is being played like the average SPAA or like a medium tank. It is definitely fast, but has no armor, and it does have no gun depression. After all, you can see how big the hull is, and you can see where the main gun is, so you can't really expect good gun depression. But with the ATGM you can aim anywhere basically, so it's not too bad. AT-34, it's honestly kind of funny to use such a vehicle against World War II era or after World War II era tanks, because I don't know, this vehicle, I think this vehicle is used in real life even to this day. I kind of forgot already, but I'm fairly sure this is still being used in combat all over the world, so it's kind of interesting how that works. I would say the ATGM is okay. I mean, it's a missile in tier 6, ATGM in tier 6. I can't really complain about any type of ATGM in this tier, that's for sure. Any ATGM in this tier is going to be pretty awesome. So always a massive bonus to have a ATGM on your vehicle. The ATGM can defeat any armor. I mean, honestly, it doesn't matter what doesn't matter what you're shooting at. The ATGM will still penetrate through basically anything. Well, in most cases, you have explosive reactive armor, but on this tier you don't really have any ATGM protection. Although it is kind of funny, because you can technically fire ATGMs at Shermans. Well, technically, I mean, depends if you get to fight against tier 4 vehicles. And this is tier 6, and that means technically you can fight tier 5 and tier 4 vehicles if you end up being top tier. I also love how I get spawned at the end of the map. Oh well, time to crash the aircraft, and let's go back to the tank. I think the bomber should be safe. I got spawned at the end of the map there, kinda unfortunate. Now, when it comes to artillery, and when it comes to bombs, any bomb that drops anywhere close, or artillery that drops anywhere close to this vehicle, it will destroy the vehicle. It has absolutely no armor. I think even like machine guns can penetrate the armor of this thing without much of a problem, so obviously not a armored, not, you know, it's still armored vehicle, but it doesn't have a lot of armor, so that's one thing that you have to keep in mind while driving this thing around. Cannot afford to take hits from artillery at all, or bombs. Cannot count how many times I've been destroyed by bombs. Even when I thought I was safe, like the bomb is at the other end of the map, basically, I still get killed. So bombs, artillery, yeah, if you see that, run. If you see this vehicle, definitely run, because they will probably destroy the infantry fighting vehicle. How the hell did... That's actually a very precise hit. The accuracy of this gun is surprisingly good. It's not the best, like the highest accuracy in the tier, but it's definitely very accurate for the caliber, and definitely accurate for what it can offer. Even though it's not a big gun, it gets the job done really well. Okay, that's could have killed that tank, but I didn't. Someone else got the kill. You can even use the ATGM against bombers if you are accurate with the ATGM. You can launch them at a bomber. It's what I like to do usually. One of my favorite things to do actually is to launch ATGMs at bombers and just shoot them down that way. And speaking of bombers, let's see if I get some kills here. Maybe, maybe not. Oh, I always pick the wrong targets with the missiles. I have 6 kills with the BMP-1, so it's not too bad. Well, let's capture some zones, I guess. But so far, I'm pretty happy with how this thing works. The vehicle isn't slippery, thankfully. Usually vehicles that have small track width are usually slippery, but this vehicle does seem to work well. And one important thing, you cannot shoot the ATGM while on the move. You have to be stationary in order to launch the missile. I think only the IT-1 remains the only vehicle that can launch ATGMs while on the move, which is very interesting. on its own. That was a surprisingly interesting match. Let's go to the next one. So, you can technically rush with this vehicle, but the slow turret rotation speed doesn't really suit rushing that much. I usually like to acquire tactical positions and wait for the enemy tanks to pop in. That's how this vehicle should be played. After all, you have to remember you don't have a lot of armor, so you can't really run around and shoot stuff. However, I have to say I'm very happy with... I hit the lower plate on the Tiger, didn't really aim there, but that's fine. Well, okay, I guess I'm not going to be able to shoot at the heavy... or actually I can, having one more missile. And did no damage. Alright, fair enough. This little position is very nice for tanks with ATGMs. Or any tank. You can come here with a tank destroyer, medium tank, heavy tank. Works for all of them. Yak Tiger should be around the corner over there, long range. The good thing about heat, it doesn't lose penetration on distance, so I can just shoot. And I just have to find a good angle where I can hit the weak spots. You can penetrate the Yak Tiger from the front with this thing, by the way. Anti-tank grenades magic. I love the fact that you can penetrate almost everything with this. Also, it's hitting the Tiger with a very nasty angle, and yeah, that's a ammo explode right in the ammo. I love the accuracy on this thing. It is very accurate. There are vehicles that have better accuracy, of course, but for a small caliber, for a very short gun, the accuracy is really good. I love the accuracy on this thing. The ATGM is very stable as well. Much more stable than the IT1 ATGM. I'm not really sure how much it penetrates. I'm fairly sure it penetrates over 400mm or 500mm, but it is definitely more stable than the IT1 ATGM. The IT1 ATGM is wobbly. This ATGM is pretty stable. At least so far it's been pretty stable. However, I would say the IT1 ATGM does seem to be doing more damage than this little missile. And that's kind of fine. The IT1 is I think there's 7 vehicle to 8 vehicle. But it's kind of wild that there is a ATGM on this tier. That's why I'm saying there's a good chance that this platoon might be changed down the road. The BMP might be replaced, might be nerfed. I'm fairly sure, I'm like 60% sure that that's going to happen. Maybe in the next week, next month, but I expect this platoon to be changed because a lot of players have voiced their concern that it might be overpowered. And honestly, while I do see their points, I do see why players would say that the BMP platoon is overpowered. In a way, when you look at how much it penetrates, it is very strong for sure. But at the same time, I died like a million times with this vehicle. It took me some effort to actually get good footage and to get good battles with it. So in the end, if you can hit this thing with anything, it will just explode. It has no armor. So you don't really have to worry about the BMP much, since it has no armor and it dies the same way any other tank dies. High explosive anywhere close by and the BMP is destroyed. So, but at the same time we will see what will happen to this platoon. Definitely fun to use, definitely strong, but it's not invincible. No, there is no invincible tank in the game. However, I would actually say something about the Object 268. Because I would say that's actually potentially the strongest vehicle of this platoon. But more on that when I do play the object, and I will make sure to upload the videos very quickly. So you will see the object in action very soon. But with that being said, that was the BMP-1. Definitely a very interesting vehicle, and I definitely had a lot of fun driving. But do tell me what you think about the BMP and the BMP-1 Platoon. And with that being said, thank you for watching. If you would like to support me, feel free to like and subscribe. And with that being said, stay safe, and as always, I'll see you next time.